U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has landed in Saudi Arabia for crisis talks on Iran. This comes as a new wave of U.S. sanctions are due to kick in today, following an announcement by Donald Trump over the weekend.
Well, Mr. Pompeo flew into the Red Sea city of Jeddah to a meeting with King Salman. He said he wants to build a global coalition against Iran, expanding beyond the Middle East to the rest of Asia and Europe.
He's expected to stop by the United Arab Emirates to push for this as well. His trip to Saudi Arabia was scheduled after Iran shot down a U.S. drone last week, very nearly prompting the U.S. to launch retaliatory strikes.
Tensions between the U.S. and Iran have soared in recent weeks. Relations started deteriorating after Mr. Trump withdrew the U.S. from a 2015 nuclear accord and imposed unilateral sanctions on Tehran.
Earlier today, Iran's ambassador to Japan called those sanctions economic terrorism. Morteza Rahmani Movahed spoke to the media after Prime Minister Shinzo Abe went to Tehran to mediate between the U.S. and Iran. Here's Michio Ishida with more.
Iranian Ambassador Rahmani showed his distrust towards Washington. He said when U.S. President Donald Trump was in Tokyo in May, his remarks were friendly towards Iran. But right before Prime Minister Shinzo Abe left for Iran earlier this month, Washington imposed additional sanctions. Now, the ambassador said he cannot trust Mr. Trump, who says no conditions will be attached for talks with Iran. He accused the U.S. administration for constantly changing its position on Iran. Now, last week, the U.S. criticized Iran for shooting down its unmanned drone flying in international waters. Now, Mr. Rahmani claimed it was in its territorial waters, so Iran took appropriate action. He also barked back at Washington for sending troops, escalating the situation, causing instability.
متاسفانه امروز شاهد حضور نظامی امریکا در منطقه، تروریسم اقتصادی، تحریم‌ها علیه ملت ایران و رفتار مشکوک به خرابکاری‌های پرونده‌ساز در خلیج فارس هستیم. این اقدامات باید متوقف شود و جامعه بین‌المللی باید از طریق اجماع‌سازی در جهت تنش‌زدایی اقدام نماید.
Washington blamed Iran for attacking a Japanese tanker during Mr. Abe's visit to Iran, the first in 41 years a Japanese prime minister set foot on the country. Now, the ambassador blamed the U.S. and other forces wishing for instability in the region being behind it. Iran, he said, in fact, quickly went to rescue those on board the vessel and safely transported them. As to Mr. Abe's visit to Iran, the ambassador called it a success and gave credit to Mr. Abe for initiating leadership for the stability of the Middle East. Michio Ishida, CNA, Tokyo.